Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday, about half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Braxton Rizzuto and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And we got a lot to get to over the course of the next couple of hours. Chris Blair is going to be with us in 15 minutes. Chris had a sit down earlier with Will Wade. That's going to be available for you to take in on LSU Plus coming up tonight. We'll preview that. Kind of get a little pub for it with Chris Blair, who obviously has a working relationship with Will Wade from Coach Wade's first stint here in Baton Rouge. So excited to talk to Chris about that 15 minutes from now. It's What If Wednesday. So we'll get those coming in. If you've got our text line, 225-499-1045. Send us a text. We'll get to What If Wednesday in 30 minutes. Dr. Chris Banghead will be here from Oxford at 1:45. Got to preview the Texas Longhorns, who LSU will see coming up in November of this year. Also got to talk about the new 5 for 5 rules. I promised you during the show yesterday that I would dive into what it meant for LSU. And I've got some specific information as it relates to LSU basketball that we'll get to at 2:15. Brian Brzee is a hot topic on LouisianaSports.net, so we'll talk about that a little bit later on in our Saints segment at 2:30. So again, lots to do. Let's crank it up the way we do every day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So Tyrann Matthews got us in the Bayou podcast, and LSU granted him some access earlier this summer. He sat down with Lane Kiffin, sat down with Whit Weeks, had Ty Benefield in as well, and chopped it up with those guys. And I wanted to get into some of the sound that Whit Weeks provided. It was about a 20, 25-minute sit-down that Tyrann had with him. And Whit's always a gregarious fellow. He's always got a lot to say, and I took some interest in some of the sound bites, so we'll just dive straight into them. First is just talking about Whit Weeks and his goals coming back for a 4th season in Baton Rouge.
I want to bring back that nasty defensive mentality down to the Bayou. You know what I mean? Like, when I was growing up watching you play, watching Devin White, PQ, like, teams used to fear to play those defenses. Yeah. Like, that's what I want to bring back to this place. Like, teams turn on the film and they're like, oh shoot, we got to go play these dudes on Saturday. Sure. Yeah. Like they know that they're in for one when they come down to the Bayou.
That's kind of right out of what I talked about yesterday, isn't it? When we were talking about Blake Baker and him coming back and how big a deal that was for LSU, I'm saying absolutely Blake Baker has elevated LSU's defense from when he got here. You couldn't do anything else. It was on the floor, but he's elevated him. Now, the next step would be dominating, and clearly Whit Weeks kind of shares that exact sentiment in that, hey, we got to get back to being a championship-level defense. It may take a minute for Lane Kiffin's offense to really take flight in Baton Rouge. It may be week 1. I kind of doubt it. It may be week 8. Like, that seems more plausible. It might be a year in. Like, I don't know when it'll be a completely dynamic offense like the ones that he was turning out at Ole Miss towards the end. It's going to happen eventually. I just don't know when. But you can prop that offense up if you can play dominant and awesome defense, and that's what Whit Weeks wants to do, and that's what he was kind of expressing. And the next bite is Whit, and just talking about what he's excited about with this team that he decided to rejoin. Because keep in mind, like, Whit Weeks could have gone to the NFL draft, and instead he decided to come back. What excites him?
I mean, I get Saturday night in Death Valley. I mean, like, I only got this my last year. I only got a couple more opportunities for the rest of my life to play in that stadium. So every time I go in there, I'm going to cherish it.
And I think he means that. I've spoken to Whit on enough occasions, not necessarily one-on-one in a lot of interview settings, and he talks about that all the time. Talks about how much it means to play in that stadium. Talks about how much it means to put on that uniform. In this day and age, money drives the bus more so than maybe ever before. And Whit Weeks could have made money in the NFL this coming fall. He could have made money at any SEC school he wanted this past year. But it does mean something to him to play for LSU. And I think that should mean something to the fan base too. And I'm confident that it does. But it's a big, big deal for him to be back for his 4th year. And one of the things he talked about was trying to get to the SEC championship game. If you ask me, Hunt Palmer, like, I'm not real concerned about LSU playing for the SEC title this year. That's not something that's high up on my list because there are a lot of ways to get where you're trying to go without doing that. You don't have to win the Southeastern Conference in baseball. You don't have to win the SEC tournament in baseball. Same thing in basketball. You don't have to win the SEC. You don't have to win SEC basketball tournament to get where you're trying to go to put yourself in a quality position. And you don't have to do that in the SEC either. But it sounds important to Whit, and he talked about it.
Consistency and communication. I mean, you know, playing defense, it all comes down to communication.
Yeah.
You turn the tape on last year, any big play that we busted, you could point it to communication.
Yeah.
Players not being on the same page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One person thinks you're in a sim 2, the other thinks you're in 3, and you're screwed. Somebody hits you on the deep ball. So I think it ultimately comes down to just being consistent in your work every single day.
Yeah.
Right now in the summertime when the days are hot and long, we're up here all day long.
And I think that's important for the leader of the defense to understand. That if we're going to be as good as we need to be, and we're going to get back to being towards the top of the SEC and competing in the SEC championship, which was a question Tyron asked him, we're going to have to communicate better and do these little things better. And there are a lot of guys that were on this roster with him last year. Now, he was hurt for a lot of it, but P.J. Woodland and D.J. Pickett and Deshaun Spears were here. Dominic McKinley was here. Devon Keys was here. There are a lot of guys that will be out on that field with him that were here and were part of making those mistakes. And there are a lot of guys that you brought in that are new, that are going to have to learn this Blake Baker defense and be in the right spot. And having a guy who understands that attention to detail, who has been here, who has seen this defense play well and has seen this defense struggle, knows what it takes. And his voice is going to be pretty loud. And to mention those new faces, like, there's a lot of new. Whit Weeks has a new linebackers coach because Blake Baker's kind of been elevated to just being the coordinator, and Chris Kiffin's coaching the linebackers, and Baker's going to coach the stars and be a little bit more of a CEO. And then you got a lot of new guys that are coming in. He's going to have to learn to play with TJ Dotter, and he's going to have to learn to play with Ty Benefield, and he's going to have to learn to play with a lot of guys that were not on the field with him last year. And he talked about the constant turning over of personnel inside a program year to year.
Nowadays, with the transfer portal, that's kind of what you have to expect every single year.
Right.
So this year we got a whole new coaching staff, but every single year that I've been in college, it's been a brand new team every single year. And I got a brand new group of friends every single year because we're bringing in 25, 30 guys a year in the portal. Mm-hmm. So it's really a new team every single year. The only thing I had to adjust to this year was a new face in the head coach's room, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A new offensive staff. But as far as the defensive staff goes, you know, it's all the same faces. And we kind of got that chemistry built already. But I think the chemistry that Lanes came in here and instilled, everybody picked up on it like that. So it really wasn't that much. It wasn't that much of a challenge to pick up on it.
And that new head coach just happens to be his girlfriend's dad. And this has been a story that's dated back to before the Ole Miss game last year. And it's just an interesting situation for him to be in. I dare say unique, certainly in the Southeastern Conference, but probably across the country. I can't think of many players that are as in a high-profile position as Whit Weeks is, playing for as high-profile a coach as his head coach, Lane Kiffin, is, and then dating the coach's daughter. And that's something that Whit talked to Tyron about.
You like your father-in-law? Like
something like that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like so what's that like? Like is y'all like competing? Like is he like running trick plays on you?
Oh yeah.
Like trying to
it's cool.
Well, make you look bad. You know what I mean?
And I can't wait for camp because I didn't get to play this spring because my ankle, so I was still out. But I could tell like we've had a couple. We've been out there a little bit. I mean, I could tell they definitely try to cook up some stuff for sure.
It's an interesting dynamic, and certainly the LSU defense in fall camp will be tested far more than it was last year in fall camp. LSU's offense completely fell flat, and at least from formationally, from a tempo perspective, this offense is going to put up a better fight against the LSU defense early on, and it's going to have those guys ready to play. Lane, what was asked, like, what stands out about Lane as the head coach?
I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is that he's focused on every little detail. Like he doesn't cut any corner at all. Like as far as what he expects from not only the players, but what he expects from his coaches as well. That's the biggest, like, that's what's really standing out to me is the work that he expects out of his coaches and out of his staff. Also with the players, of course, but that's what stands out to me the most.
It's interesting because, look, I'm from outside the program here. I'm judging from afar, but that would have been something that I would have assumed one would say about Brian Kelly, because you heard about all the, the checklists they had to go through with the nutrition and the sleep and the CEO approach and making sure you're paying attention to all the details. And I would have thought that was something that he would have been right on with Brian Kelly with, but obviously it's standing out about Lane Kiffin as well, and Lane Kiffin's going to be more involved, I think, in the installation and the play calling on the offense than Brian Kelly was. Now, Charlie Weiss is going to literally call the plays, but Kiffin will be very, very hands-on from that perspective as well. I don't think you're going to hear Lane Kiffin or see the video of him yelling at Charlie Weiss on the headset, "What the blank are you doing?" In this case, it was Joe Sloan, like Kelly did last year. You can't call that play with no timeouts. Like, there was a disconnect there, and I think that was pretty obvious. You look at this offensive staff with Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr., I don't expect there to be much of a disconnect there. And if the defensive players are noticing just how on top of things Lane Kiffin is, I think that means a lot for the entirety of the roster, because he's going to be focused on the offensive side of things, but the defense as well, something that you're noticing there. So you can check out that conversation. It's the In the Bayou podcast with Tyrann Mathieu. Whit Weeks was on there. Lane Kiffin was on there previously. He's gotten a little bit of access and put out some good content there. So wanted to start the show with a little bit of that. Our Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. You can find them online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. We'll take a time out. When we come back, Will Wade back here in Baton Rouge. He's got a video and a sit-down with Chris Blair that's coming out this evening. The voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, will sit down and tell us what we can expect from that and what we can expect from the LSU basketball program. We'll talk about that with Chris Blair next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running the show at Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. If you're looking for a Generac home standby generator for your home or for your business, contact the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. I promise you can buy a Generac home standby generator from the big box store. You can do that. They'll come out. I'm sure they'll install it. And then will you hear from them again? I don't know. At Boudreaux's Electrical, you call the local people. They come out with a local team, get you a quote. A local team does the installation. They monitor that generator after the installation 24/7 locally. And if there's a mechanical issue, a local team comes out and fixes it. So that when that storm comes through, and when that power wants to fail, that generator kicks on, and you got AC, you got lights, you got television, you got a fridge, you got a freezer. That's the difference. The local touch that Boudreaux's Electrical Services provides. You give them a call at 985-397-1562. You can also call the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. Give the easy way every day as well. It's BoudreauxElectrical.com. It's my friends at Boudreaux's Electrical Services, online at BoudreauxElectrical.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
If your office is experiencing performance performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you got any questions for What If Wednesday, get them in on the text line, 225-499-1045. We'll answer 4 or 5 what ifs from you, the listeners. Coming up in our next segment, back on Monday night, big night for LSU basketball. Had a great event over at Supper Club, raised a lot of money for the basketball program. We know that Will Wade is a promoter. He likes to promote. He likes to be seen. He likes to be out in the community. He likes to make LSU basketball very, very public. And part of that push tonight will be airing at 6 o'clock on LSU Plus. A Will Wade interview with Chris Tigers. Chris Tigers. Nope, that'd be Chris Blair, the voice of the Tigers, who joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline to talk a little bit about that and Will Wade's return to Baton Rouge. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. That should have been my name when I started in radio. Chris Tiger. Much better than Chris Blair.
You had a chance to sit down with the new head coach of the men's basketball program, who happens to be the old coach of the men's basketball program as well. Your relationship with Will Wade goes a ways back, just like riding a bike, talking to Coach Wade?
It really was. I mean, it's interesting because when all of that went down and we were told that Coach Wade was returning, I don't ask people for much, but I said, I would love to have 20 or 30 minutes to kind of cover everything post-2022 to where we are today. And obviously, Coach Wade hit the ground running, as you just talked about, building a roster, setting a schedule, assembling a staff, and raising money. So hopefully or thankfully we were able to get together a little over a week ago, spent about 30 minutes together with the cameras running, mics were on. And I think I just can't imagine that LSU fans, there's two things, Hunt. One, I think LSU fans, when they see this, are going to know why this was the right move. This is why everybody's excited and the future is bright for the basketball program. But I also think there are a lot of people who maybe are looking from the outside in that have already made a decision on Coach Wade. And I don't think he'll change their minds, but I think it's an interesting look as to why things are done the way they do it. It's not helter-skelter. It's not from the hip. Everything is very calculated. And I think it comes out in his comments on the interview tonight.
He said in his introductory press conference that he's not from Louisiana, but Louisiana is home. And it's very, very rare that someone would come back to a place where they were let go the way he was. Did he expound upon that with you? And what was your impression in talking to him about returning to a place where he was fired?
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the questions that I put down, that I said, come hell or high water, before we get done and they shut the camera off, I want to go back to that. And it's a very thoughtful answer. And it's a very when you hear it, you can probably think to yourself, well, why would he want to? And there's probably, 4 to 5 different scenarios you could come up with on your own. But when you hear the way he explains it, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it doesn't even require a follow-up, Hunt. That's how good the answer was. I mean, you're like, okay, I think we're done here. And, again, it comes from the heart. And, I told people for a long time that, it's interesting. I've been in the business for about 30 years, and I have gone through a number of coaches being hired and coaches being fired at Clemson, at Georgia Southern, and obviously here at LSU. This was the one time that I really felt like, and I had no chance to know that this would ever come back around again. But I thought it's interesting because I felt like the overwhelming majority of the fan base was like, he should be our coach. He should still be here. He should be our coach. And I got to be honest with you, that doesn't happen. I mean, there's been a lot of successful coaches that tenures end at certain institutions, and most people look at each other and go, yeah, probably was the right time, probably had to do it, nothing else you could do. I just didn't get the sense, and it was one of those rare times. And when he talks about what this state, what this program, what this university has meant to him, again, I think everybody is going to be pumped and ready to run through a wall.
You get the sense that he's a different guy than he was when he left in terms of the way that he's going to operate?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the total run of the interviews somewhere in the neighborhood 23, 24 minutes. And I would say a lot of the focus is on that question. Again, we talk a little bit about the roster. We talk a lot about assembling the staff that he's assembled and the 100 plus years of Division I experience, not counting him that he now has on that bench. But we spent a lot of time, talking about what you just asked. What's different about Will Wade, the person, off the floor, in the office, running a Power 4 program, as opposed to when you walked in the door in 2017? Because it's interesting. He and I sat down face-to-face in the LSU men's locker room the day, a couple of hours actually, before his press conference when he was named the head coach in 2017. And I can tell you, sitting there with him, last week, it's obviously different. But to hear him to kind of self-evaluate and talk about things that he's worked on and how he handles things differently, while at the same time still having that fire and that passion, again, really took me aback. There's a lot of similarity to the Will Wade that we all knew and loved, but I think you're going to see a little bit of difference too. And it may not be, obvious. I think it's just going to be some of the details around the program that maybe fans see and maybe fans don't, but I think it's going to benefit what they see on the floor.
Talking with Chris Blair. You can catch his sit down with Will Wade coming up on LSU Plus tonight at 6 o'clock, about 20-25 minutes with the LSU head men's basketball coach. I have said this on my air that we have not heard a lot from LSU about the roster to come in 2026, 2027. There have been some reports. We understand that they're going heavily on the international side of things, and we know that the eligibility rules are changing almost by the day. It literally did yesterday. But I've said that because they're being quiet, it just feels like there's some confidence there. Do you feel like he's comfortable with the roster he's assembled to this point?
Yeah, he's certainly laid back because I'd leaned right into that about both of those fronts. Like, where are we with the roster build? How important it is going into year one. And he talks about why one is certainly directly related to the other. And what I mean by that is he came back to LSU to pick up where he left off, winning. Competing in what I think year to year is the toughest league top to bottom in college basketball, certainly one of them. And to do that, what are your means that currently, as we sit here on the 24th of June, 2026, what are some of the means that are allowed to do that? And right now, LSU and Coach Will Wade are taking advantage of that. He's not rewriting the rules. He's just following where the rules are and where the rules aren't. So he gets pretty in-depth about how he's building the roster, why he's doing it the way he's doing it. And again, it's one of the things I tell people about Coach Wade that, he's probably best known for his ranting and raving and, jumping up and down on the court and smacking the scorer's table and giving the fist bumps and all of that. And again, that draws eyeballs. I understand that. But make no mistake, every decision he makes has a very calculated and very researched reason behind it. And that's why I would never play chess against him.
I'm curious his thoughts on LSU basketball and where it stands on the totem pole of LSU athletics. Virgil Osbury sat in this very studio and told Matt Moscona a couple months ago that it's very expensive to be good at everything. And we know that LSU's good in making commitment to football. They're very, very good at baseball. They're very, very good at women's basketball. Like, there's a lot of different mouths to feed here. And he's been here before and understands that. Like, how comfortable is he with where men's basketball stands, and where do you think that's headed?
I think fans are really going to take from this, again, because I did. I never really heard him talk about this before, but it's part of the maturation and growth in the sense that he talks a lot about in this sit-down about the time he spent arguing or fighting his first time here about they've got this and we don't. I don't have this and that guy does. And he goes, hey, look, you can continue to do that, but in his opinion, it was wasted time. What are some things LSU has, the program has, the culture has, the city, the state has that other teams and other schools don't have? Okay, let's maximize that instead of going out and trying to chase, matching a checklist of what this school has and what this coach has. And so I think by a way of understanding that, he found that he was able to thrive and succeed without having to have everything that so-and-so has. So I think there's a very good understanding. And again, this is just me on the outside looking in, between where the priorities are in this day and age we are in college athletics for who drives the bus, and then how do you go about making a successful program, even if you don't have everything that all of your competitors have. So I think, again, it goes back to Will certainly mapping things out, looking at how do we win if we don't have the budget that, say, the team in Lexington does, or maybe the team in Fayetteville, or whatever team you want to pick. And I think there's a good synergy there between the administration on campus, obviously familiar with the way Coach Wade goes about his business and has success, and the athletic director and the athletic department and the basketball program. So, yeah, I think that's kind of why this makes this a good fit, is that Will understands, this may not be a traditional blue blood program that will have everything at his beck and call. Still doesn't mean he can't go out and win. And we saw him do that for a number of years. I mean, again, 5 years here and 4 times went to the NCAA tournament and would have gone another time had COVID not canceled it.
No question about it. Over at LSU Plus, that's at lsuplus.net. You can listen to Chris Blair's sit down with LSU head basketball coach Will Wade at 6 o'clock. Chris, 6 o'clock to about 7:30 in my house. A lot of cleaning peanut butter and jelly off the floor. A lot of trying to make sure the 1-year-old doesn't bash his head in the bathtub. There's a lot going on from 6 to 7:30. Probably going to have to wait till about 8 o'clock to tune in, but I'll be all over it. And I know a lot of folks will as well. I appreciate you stopping by, and we'll talk to you again later this summer.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me do it. And again, I think fans are really going to enjoy the long depth answers. And I promise, I don't talk a lot on it by design. I'm like, let me ask a quick question and let Coach Wade, talk. So I think, I know it sounds like I'm, a shameless plug here, but I really think fans are going to get a lot from it and leave watching it knowing that this year is going to be one heck of a fun season.
We are very much looking forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
You got it.
That is Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers. Again, you can listen to his sit-down with LSU head basketball coach Will Wade at lsuplus.net. You can sign up for $8.99 a month for LSU Plus. There also is a trial period that you can check in as well. So I will absolutely be locked into that. Y'all know I love LSU basketball and I'm excited for Will Wade's return. And I'm very curious about what the next few months bring, because the eligibility issues are interesting. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in the second hour, because we have the new 5-for-5 deal with the 19th birthday and finishing your high school career. And I did some research on that, as I promised I would yesterday on the air. That broke while we were on the air. It's hard for me to give you a real thoughtful and thorough breakdown of that when it happens while I'm talking into the microphone. But earlier this morning, I was able to get into it, and I think I've got a pretty good feeling for where things are from an international perspective. And some of it's good, some of it's a little questionable, but I'll get into that in the second hour. We appreciate Chris for coming on and making that happen for us. Let's come back and do some What If Wednesday. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. Been telling you this for a couple of months, but I'm being very truthful. It's the end of June. You got July coming up. Maybe it is time for your family to head to the beach. Maybe it's time to hit the road for the mountains of Tennessee, wherever Grandma and Grandpa's house are, or wherever you decide to take the family for a week for the summer. If you need a new SUV for that, contact my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can start online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can see the Tahoes. You can see the Suburbans. You can see the Yukons, Denali's. They're all right there. You can get new. You can get pre-owned. You can search through those filters and determine what it is you're looking for. If you go the pre-owned route, you can search by mileage as well. It's all right there at your fingertips at FabryChevrolet.com. I highly suggest you go check them out on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Phenomenal customer service, great inventory, and wonderful deals as well. So go by and see them. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard, dig deeper, give more. At Sunshine,
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Had an opportunity earlier today to sit down with my friend David Duvall over at One Bath and Closets. We were chatting about some of the things that he's been doing over there. And the thing that kept coming up was issues in folks' showers. If you notice a crack in your shower, if you notice some sort of issue where something's not stable or is breaking, don't wait. Don't delay and go, I'll get to that in a minute. Because the issue that David sees so often is you realize that the shower, there's a lot of water. One coming out of the shower head, two in the walls. And if you've got a defect that you don't pay attention to in a timely manner, that water's got to go somewhere. In the walls, in the floors, in other rooms. It can cause black mold. It can cause wood rot. It can cause damage to multiple walls. And all of a sudden, this little crack that you're looking at in the shower is a massive, massive repair job. And that's something that he sees all the time. So if you see, especially in tile showers, some sort of crack, some sort of deformity that doesn't quite look right, just have David and his team come look at it. He's an expert. He'll be able to tell you what the issue is. And if you catch it quickly, it could be a quick fix. But if you say, I don't really feel like dealing with that right now, maybe tomorrow, and then tomorrow turns into 3 weeks from now and a month and a half from now and 6 months from now, you could have significant issues. And David sees that kind of stuff all the time. So don't call your handyman down the street. Call One Bath and Closets. It's not just renovations, not just remodels. Could be a situation where they identify a significant issue in one of your bathrooms. Water is a dangerous deal when it comes to financial input in a repair. I dealt with that in insurance for 7 years. Contact David Vault, One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com. All right, we'll have our chat with Dr. Bankhead from Oxford coming up in about 10 minutes. But right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, so from the text line, we have, what if Hunt was an Arkansas baseball fan? Would he just accept that they are cursed and give up at this point?
I mean, no. I am a Cubs fan. I did this exact same thing for a long time. I mean, the Cubs have had brutal beats. The Bartman game is one that was in my lifetime, and obviously Arkansas got all the way to the final out of the College World Series final and dropped it in foul territory. I want to be very clear here. Just listen. Don't overreact. There's a very, very, very small piece of me that is jealous of the Arkansas baseball fan, the A&M baseball fan, the A&M football fan. I'm jealous of them because they have the opportunity to experience something for the first time. They have the opportunity to break through. I got baseball championships as far as the eye can see. Right. I've seen 2 of them with right in front of me. I've seen us win 3 football national championships right in front of me. I watched the Cubs win the World Series. I went to Chicago for games 3 and 4. I didn't go to the games, but I was up there and saw the environment. Like, I've seen almost everything. They still have that potential experience. I wouldn't trade with them. I like my spot way better. Right. There's a small part of me that's like, that chasing that first one is kind of fun.
It is fun. Let's see. We got, what if Sam Leavitt is only running at 80% this year?
That's a problem if he is. Now, I will tell you this. Did some checking on LSU summer workouts. They're obviously with the strength and conditioning coach. They're not with the coaches. They're not running 11 on 11s. They're just out there running and throwing a little bit. Just checked in. And I can report that Sam Leavitt's moving pretty good out there. He's out there with the team. They're working out. He's able to run. Lane Kiffin said he'd been cleared, so that should be no surprise. I'm not breaking any news here. I'm not writing 4,000 words on LouisianaSports.net on this, but Sam Leavitt is running around out there. He is out on the field with his teammates, and things are progressing well. So I don't anticipate that he is going to be limited. But we talked about Matt Mullock, who had this same injury in 2002, and he came back in 2003 and did not feel like he could run as well as he did early in his LSU career. Now, he set passing records. They won a national title, so that worked out pretty well. But if Leavitt's only 80%, that takes away a big piece of his game. And Lane Kiffin talked to Tyrann Mathieu about having a mobile quarterback and having guys that can make crazy things happen on third down. You saw Trinidad Chambliss do that a lot last year. That's part of Leavitt's game, and you really want that. So if he's compromised significantly, that would be bad. I don't have any reason to believe that he will be.
I mean, it's one thing that he gets to 100%, but it's another when it's 2 months early.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have a lot more time to build up more strength and build up, leading up to the season.
I think we will get a pretty good look at his foot health when we're able to go watch fall practice.
Right.
I think we got a reasonable look at it in the spring when he was clearly hobbled, and I think we'll get a decent look at that. If it were, like, if you've got like a linebacker's shoulder and they're not tackling. Like, I don't really know. I feel like a quarterback's foot, I'll be able to tell how he's moving.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to, drop back in the pocket, kind of step up, and there's a lot of different movements. And if they can do that perfectively, then we're in good hands.
Yep.
So what if you were limited to only one beach beverage next week?
I think I would go with the seltzer. I think I would go with like a neutral.
Okay.
I love cold beer. I will have plenty of cold beers next week on the beach. But if you told me I could only have either beer or a seltzer on the beach when it's like 104,
right,
it's probably going to be a seltzer.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to have both. But if you're telling me what if there's only one, that's probably where I'm going to
you're
land.
at the beach. You got to be a little different sometimes.
Probably where I'm going to land. They're just lighter, go down a little smoother. But luckily, I don't have that issue. I'm not limited to one. I can have as many as I want, so we're good.
That's why it's only what if. See, what if LSU is done in the baseball portal?
That's a two-part answer. One, I really wish they added a couple more pitchers.
Yeah.
So I would be a little disappointed in that. Two, I got to know how the draft goes because you can add, I think it's realistic to expect 2 freshmen to help out of the bullpen. I think it's realistic to expect someone to look like Kason Evans did at times 2 years ago. Not necessarily pitch to a 2.0 ERA for the entire season, but like be an impact guy as a freshman. That isn't a reasonable ask. It's unreasonable generally to ask a freshman to toe the rubber on Friday nights in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that. But you can ask him to help. And so I think that is reasonable. But I would be disappointed if they were done. I also checked on that this morning. I don't expect any news on LSU getting a transfer portal commitment today. Do I think it's possible LSU gets one in the next 2 days? I do, based on what I was told this morning. I don't have a concrete name, but I'm working on that, and I think that there was some progress made yesterday, and I think that LSU could pick up a portal commitment Friday or Saturday of this week, but I wouldn't expect it today, and I don't think there's a lot of work to be done, but I would love it if they got a relief pitcher or 2.
That is it for What If.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday here. Let me remind you about my friends over at Auctioner. We're about to talk to the folks over at Auctioner coming up in our next segment, but they have kind of given you a talking point for every single month. And this month, they've been telling you that whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help you get moving and keep you moving. And so you've got access to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, latest equipment and modern facilities, and that includes a convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic over at Elite Training Complex on Burbank. I drove by Elite earlier today. Got those 2 football fields out there with the big goalposts. You can't miss it. And what you realize when you drive by, they've got a walk-in clinic right there for you. So if you've got a sprain, strain, minor dislocation, whatever it may be from a sports perspective, you can walk in without an appointment. They've got x-rays on site, so you can walk in today over at Elite. That's all courtesy of our friends over at Auctioner. Moving right along here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We have a lot to get to in hour number 2. I'm excited about it. We're going to preview the Texas Longhorns, where LSU will see. Keep in mind, LSU was supposed to see Texas in 2020 after the 2019 game in Austin. It was going to be big deal. Sam Ehlinger was back, defending national champions, Texas' first time in Tiger Stadium, and then COVID took it from us. Well, now finally we get that rematch 7 years later, and I think there's some really intriguing storylines around Texas, specifically their schedule, which is absolutely brutal. The 5-for-5 rule that passed yesterday while I was on the air, as I mentioned in the last segment, I've got some LSU basketball thoughts on that. I've got some LSU football thoughts on that as well. So we'll talk about that at 2:15. The Saints picked up Brian Brzez's option back in April. What does he mean to this organization and this defense moving forward? Can he be a true 3-down impact defensive tackle for this Saints defense? We'll discuss a little bit of that as well. So plenty to get to over the course of the next hour and 15 minutes here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. When we come back, we'll talk with Dr. Chris Bankhead from Auctioner. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power. GoTrosOnline.com. GoTrosOnline.com. If you need a new zero-turn mower, you got to go to GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Saturday is a half day. But get by and see them. They can get you behind the wheel of a new zero-turn mower for $100 a month. Like, what do you pay to get that grass cut by one of your contractors? Significantly more, maybe? You can get behind the wheel for $100. Hand it yourself. They've been the National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. They got trucks on the road 8 hours a day with their parts. If you need a trailer to deliver that zero-turn mower to you, they've got that covered as well. Wonderful customer service, family-owned and operated, 22 years in business, 2 locations, Baton Rouge on Airline, and, of course, in Gonzales as well. Check them out online at GoTrosOnline.com. That's GoTros Outdoor Power.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. That's builtbyrenaissance.com. Time now to with our bi-weekly conversation with the folks over at Ochsner. Dr. Chris Bankhead, good enough to give us a little time here at the end of hour number 1. Dr. Bankhead, thanks for that time. How are you?
I'm doing great, Hunt. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. World Cup's kind of taken over here in America. I'm not a huge soccer guy. I'm thrilled that everyone is loving the World Cup, and I'm thrilled that Team USA is 2-0. My question to you is, do y'all have treatment for fake injuries that happen all the time in soccer games? Is that something that y'all look at a lot?
We don't see a lot of that, thankfully. You know, there's sort of a process where that happens. I think usually the freezy spray that they take out with them on the field handles most of it.
Keep that in stock over there in case you've got some soccer players that are really banged up from the air. I am curious because there's a lot of debate about Christian Pulisic, who's Team USA's best player, and his calf injury. I'm not speaking about his specifically, but y'all obviously deal with athletes who are trying to get back to the field as quickly as possible. How much of that time frame are y'all putting just like by the book? This is what this usually takes. And how much are you trusting patients and athletes to give you the feedback that you're looking for to let them return to whatever it is they're trying to do?
That's a great question. I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? There's always sort of objective criteria that we want to meet, right? A lot of times, so it starts with diagnosis, right? So I'm sure he, had advanced imaging, whether that's ultrasound or MRI. They can kind of categorize the injury as being like sort of low grade, high grade, and then you establish a plan, right? Generally, you have some objective measurements. A lot of these guys wear like monitors, to test like how fast are they running, what's their speed, what's their velocity. They have like kind of baselines to go by too, like the things that they started their training with, like at the very beginning of their camp, how fast were they moving? And so they can kind of compare that. The good thing about orthopedics is you got, one of everything, right? You got two sides, so you got a right and a left. And so we can compare limb symmetry. Limb symmetry index is kind of some numbers we go by. We want to make sure, depending on what the injury is, generally you want someone to be at least 90% symmetric from side to side in order to kind of get them back to sports. And so there's some equipment that we can use to kind of test your joints in different planes. And then, there's just the good old-fashioned eye test, right? We want to see, are you moving the same? Do you have the same sort of change of direction? Are your body movements symmetric? Are you able to kind of move one way or the other? And I'm sure they ran through that with him. It sounded like, he worked on his own, right? So that's kind of the first steps. You work on your own. You're with an athletic trainer, physical therapist, orthopedist. You're doing all those things, and then you progress. You're doing more group workouts, and then you kind of up your intensity. And so it sounds like he's kind of worked through that process. And obviously, their goals are to win knockout games. They want him kind of as healthy as possible for the rest of the way.
I'm curious your thoughts. Like, there's a rust factor, obviously. There's a game shape factor, obviously, and then there's a health factor, which is probably the most important thing. You think he's going to play?
I don't know. It depends on what their plan is. I think they have a very specific plan, right? So they may say, well, look, he's ready to go. We've gotten him some reps in practice, but it's not the same as the game. Maybe they want to get him a certain amount of time. Sometimes you'll see that as guys are coming back from injury. They'll say, well, look, we want to play you 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get you ready for the next game. And so I'm not sure what their plan is, but I'm sure they have a very clear plan on what that would be. So I wouldn't be surprised if he played, but played a limited amount, something that they can control, just to get him ready for maybe a full game the next time out.
The eyes of the nation will certainly be watching. Team USA coming up against Turkey tomorrow. All right. Obviously, with Elite, the walk-in clinic over there, there's always things going on, and y'all are always available to Baton Rouge in the event that walk-ins are necessary. Tell us what's going on over there.
Yeah, so comprehensive orthopedic walk-in care, which I think is fantastic. Especially this time of year. I know everyone's getting outside, whether you're playing soccer, baseball, basketball, 7-on-7 flag football. We got someone there all the time to take care of any, sprains, strains, sports-related injuries. And it doesn't have to be just sports, any kind of musculoskeletal pain or care that you're looking for. We can get you set up. Whole team of orthopedists, advanced practice providers, physical therapists, everyone's out there and ready to help.
It's a really, really big asset here in Baton Rouge. You can't miss it. Big uprights, big football fields right next to it there on Burbank. It is Elite, brought to you by our friends over at Ochsner. They're with us every couple of weeks on Wednesdays. Dr. Bankhead, we appreciate the time. Have a great afternoon.
All right, thanks, you too.
That is Dr. Chris Bankhead with Ochsner. I didn't have it in me, Braxton, to bring up my Cubs because I don't think the folks at Ochsner have any answers. The Cubs are in the midst of the most ridiculous rash of pitching injuries. Got to be in the history of baseball. Has to be. Man. The entire weekend rotation, that would be LSU. The entire 5-man rotation is hurt. And the former ace, who was supposed to start the year on the IL and then come back in the summer, he had a setback from Tommy John surgery. And the best prospect that they had, who came up and was pitching the best on the team, is hurt. That's 7 starters, as well as their best prospect in AA, all hurt.
Yeah,
is that good or is that not good?
That's horrible.
It's not good.
Mm-mm.
It's not good at all. Shota Imanaga is the only pitcher that's left that has pitched at all in the big leagues. They called 2 guys up from AAA today that I've never heard of. And I don't even wear this as a badge of honor. It just is what it is. I know a lot of Cubs prospects. Yeah. I never heard of these 2 guys because they don't have any pitchers left to go out there. They're playing a doubleheader today.
Yeah, you can't do that.
They don't have any pitchers. I said, and Jordan clipped it, and I'm sure he'll play it 50 times in August and September. I said there was no way the Brewers would beat the Cubs this year. The Brewers traded away their ace. The Cubs went out, added pitching with Cabrera, added some offense with Bregman. Thought for sure this is the year the Cubs obviously win the Central. They are 8.5 games back and have no pitchers.
How about hitting? Can they hit?
Not really. They hit last night because the Mets threw a guy out there with an 80 ERA. So they hit. But no, they don't hit a lot. Alex Bregman has not hit. Dansby Swanson has not hit. Seiya Suzuki has not hit. They sent Mose Pasteros down. This has become a Cubs segment for the last 3 minutes. And mainly it's just me trying to get some therapy out of it because I'm so sad. But maybe, because like the Cubs were trying to save my fall last year as LSU football was foundering away into nothing.
Right.
Maybe LSU football will just save my fall. But right now, I got nothing because the Cubs are too hurt. And it's very sad. If you're hurt, go check out the Elite Performance Center over there on Burbank. It's a walk-in clinic that's available to you from our friends over at Oxford. Thanks to Dr. Bankhead for stopping on by. Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, online at builtbyrenaissance.com. We got tons to do in hour number 2. We'll start with the preview of the Texas Longhorns. They're coming to Tiger Stadium this year. They got a brutal schedule, and they got a quarterback who played really well at the end of last year. We'll also talk about LSU eligibility for basketball and Brian Brzee on the Saints side after SportsCenter.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci, what a gym in Baton Rouge. Go check out my friends over at Marucci. They make 1,200 bats a day. A lot of folks could probably make 1,200 bats a day, but would it be the official bat of Major League Baseball? The best bat on the market? The bat that the best players in the world trust? Probably not. Marucci does that. You can go take a tour and see how they cut, stain, and ship off 1,200 bats a day. You can learn the story of how 2 former big leaguers and their athletic trainer went from the backyard shed to the best bat in the world. It's an amazing story, and it's right here in Baton Rouge. I'll also remind you this time of year, especially in the summer as spring baseball is kind of wound down. I know travel ball is still humming. If you've got a youth baseball or softball player that's cooped up in the house during the summer and wants to get out and work on baseball, no matter if it's rain, 100 degrees, no matter what, become a member at Marucci. Get that key card access to the hitter's house 24/7 so he or she can work on his or her game. That's all there at Marucci.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
coolest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Lakers have taken care of one of their main offseason priorities. Guard Austin Reeves intends to sign a 4-year, $185 million max contract to return to L.A., richest deal in NBA history for an undrafted player. So how does the contract affect what the Lakers can do regarding soon-to-be free agent LeBron James? They've got $50 million currently in salary cap space, explains ESPN's Brian Windhorst.
They can still go out into the marketplace in a week and try to steal away, guys that are on other teams. But whatever they negotiate with LeBron James, whether it's now or later, would eat into that space. So the Lakers obviously still have to be careful and still have to really do some homework and see what they can do with other free agents really before doing something with LeBron James.
U.S. men's national team captain Christian Pulisic hopes to play in tomorrow's group play finale against Turkey at the World Cup. He's been sidelined by a calf injury. Baseball, Mets move struggling starter Kodai Senga to the bullpen. Teams not ruling out a trip meantime to the injured list for outfielder Juan Soto, who's dealing with a back injury. WNBA, Sparks guard Kelsey Plum out at least 4 weeks due to a lower left leg injury.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Thursday with NBA free agency on the horizon, I'll tell you the one team in the West who can make themselves an instant contender with the right move. It's on Sports Fun Like 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN 2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour number 2. Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. We are now working towards the weekend. I told y'all earlier this week I'm out next week, so it's kind of getting toward the second half of this week. Start getting that senioritis setting in for vacation, but I'll get there. I got a lot to talk about in this hour, and we'll get a couple more days, and then we'll unwind for about a week, and then back in action for a little bit before we head off to SEC Media Days. And by the time we get to Media Days, it's kind of full steam ahead. There's only 1 week between Media Days and LSU reporting, and in that week, the Saints report. So we're going to get to the end of the summer one way or another. I think that there are probably a few of you that would like to do that because you're excited about football or you just want to get the kids back into school. But either way, we'll get there one way or another. I got a couple more days, and then we'll head off for a week's worth of vacation. But not vacation right now. Let's talk. Let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. LSU and Texas will play this year. And it's something that we were going to get in 2020, but because of COVID and the fact that you played just conference schedules, it was taken away. So on November the 14th, LSU and Texas will do battle. And obviously the circumstances are going to be a little bit different than they were for that scheduled matchup back in 2020. In 2020, Steve Sarkisian was at Bama, and Lane Kiffin was at Florida Atlantic. So that was a long time ago for those two coaches. Now they're running two of the biggest brands in the sport, and they've got a lot of expectation on them entering this season. Texas went 9-3 last year. If they had scheduled Rice instead of Ohio State, they're probably a playoff team for the second year in a row. But they went to Ohio State in week 1, and I think they scored 7 points, and they lost the game. And they were 9-3, and they had a loss to Florida, and they didn't get in. It didn't matter that they had beaten Oklahoma, who went to the playoff. They didn't get in. They beat Vanderbilt, who went 10-2. Didn't get in. And they're expected to get in this year. Now, you've got 6 Longhorns that were drafted last year. 4 of those were defensive starters that were taken in the top 5 rounds. Anthony Hill at linebacker, Trey Moore. You also had 6 more players sign on undrafted free agents content. It's not the exodus that they had from the 2025 team that did make the playoff and beat Clemson and advanced in the playoff. It's not that, because that team had 12 players drafted. But you realize that they've now had 18 players drafted in the last 2 years. They are putting together big-time NFL talent-rich rosters in Austin, Texas. NIL is their friend. Steve Sarkisian recruits very hard. And they've, generally speaking, got a lot of dudes who are going to play NFL football. And Arch Manning is one of those. It was interesting to watch Arch, for lack of a better term, through last year. Because if you remember, they went to Ohio State, as I said, and he threw for 170 yards in that game, and they couldn't score. They scored 7 points. 2 weeks later, they played UTEP, and Arch completed 44% of his throws and turned the ball over for the 3rd time in 3 games. It just looked really, really bad. They went to Gainesville to play Florida. He threw 2 more interceptions, and Texas was anemic offensively. And I sat in this chair and said, look, this is just a miss. This guy, he's been in college a couple of years. His throwing motion doesn't look great. He's inaccurate. They don't move the ball. His decision-making's bad. They turn the ball over. This looks terrible. And then they played Mississippi State. And Mississippi State had one of the worst defenses in the league, but Texas lit it up that day against a bad defense. And from the Mississippi State game moving forward, Arch Manning averaged 286 yards a game through the air. He threw for 15 total touchdowns, and he ran for 5 more, and Texas went 5-1. So it was a very encouraging close to the season for Arch Manning in Texas. He didn't light it up against Texas A&M, but they won the game in Austin and did enough to finish the season strong. So now you look at mock drafts, you look at big boards, you look at the NFL draft for 2027, and you see a lot of Arch Manning at the top. And the fact of the matter is this: right, wrong, indifferent, fair, foul, whatever you want to say, the expectation when he signed at Texas was that Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian would get this program over the hump. You had the coach. He was bringing the swagger. He's wearing the fancy orange jackets. He's got the Lamborghinis parked out there for the recruiting weekends. They're blowing all this NIL money. You've got the coach who's going to change the trajectory. And now he's got his quarterback. This is going to be the ticket. Yours is a big deal. Arch Manning was a bigger deal. And this is probably their last year together. Arch comes from a little bit of different set of circumstances. His family doesn't need the NFL money. He doesn't need the NFL money. He's probably doing just fine from an NIL perspective. But he doesn't have to go chase cash in the NFL. But I think everyone imagines this will be his last year. So this is the year where if those two are going to do it, Sark can still do it. But if those two are going to put Texas back on the map and those two are going to compete and win a championship, it has to be this year. And if they're going to do that this year, it's going to come in front of some hostile crowds. Because, yes, they do host Ohio State this year instead of travel to Ohio State, so you don't have to go to that gauntlet in the shoe. You are going to go to Knoxville and play in front of 102,000. Tennessee may be awesome. They may be average. But you're going to play in front of 102,000 in Knoxville. I don't know what LSU is going to be either. Might be great, might be average. But there's going to be 102,000 in that stadium when Texas shows up. And I don't know what Texas A&M is going to be. But I can promise you, to close out the season, there will be 103,000 in Kyle Field for that game. 3 times you're going to have to go on the road to 100,000 and deal with that. And oh, by the way, you will also play Oklahoma, a playoff team from last year, in the Cotton Bowl, which seats 92,000, and half of that will be against you. So 4 times you're leaving Austin to play in front of less than hospitable crowds. And plus Ole Miss comes to you, and I think they're going to be decent. So the schedule is not light. A lot of people suggested 2 years ago, Texas' first year in the league, they got off light. A lot of people suggested that. Not this year. Like, this is a gauntlet Texas is going to have to run. And it's going to involve 3 of the more hostile environments: Kyle Field, Death Valley, Neyland Stadium, in the sport. Now, you could suggest, like, you got to do that anyway. You either got to go to Georgia, or you got to go to Florida, or you got to go to Bama, or you got to go to Auburn, or you got to go to Tennessee, or you got to go to Texas, or you got to go to Baton Rouge. Like, there are a lot of those in the league, and that's true. But this certainly qualifies. So, it'll be a talented team. It's a now experienced quarterback. It's a brutal schedule. Is this the team that gets Texas back into conversation for a national title? I don't know. I'm curious about the discourse around Texas in media days. I'm curious. There are a number of teams I'm curious about when we get there. What do people think about Texas? What do people think about Oklahoma? I'll see what they think about LSU, but I got a pretty good handle on LSU. What do people think about Alabama? What do people think about Tennessee? What do people think about Missouri? And Ole Miss, maybe more so than any. There are a lot of teams that are very, very interested. And I think that Texas is right among the top of those, because there were so many years where media days came and went, and I didn't go for a long time, but I was in this chair and reacting to everything that was going on, whether it was in Hoover or Dallas or wherever the case may be. And for a lot of years, like 5 or 6 there in a row, it was like, okay, here's Georgia and Bama. Like, who else do we want to talk about? Georgia, Bama, Georgia, Bama, Georgia, Bama, Bama, Georgia, whatever else. That's not really the case anymore. Like, Georgia looks mortal. Bama won the COVID year, but it's been a minute. And Kalen DeBoer's in year 3, and he's lost 8 games. Like, I talked about this yesterday. There's just more intrigue. It feels more open. And I don't know if that's a product of NIL. I don't know if that's a product of the portal. I think it's probably some of both. But Texas is in that mix of like, all right, what are you going to be? You going to show up and be big and bad? Or are you going to be kind of the underperformer that you have been at times? And I think it's fascinating. I'm curious what the narrative is around the Longhorns when we get to Tampa next month for Media Days. That's a look at LSU and the Texas Longhorns. 3 things there. You can read my little three bullet points on every LSU opponent, beginning with the opener in Clemson all the way now through Texas with a couple more to go, over for free at louisianasports.net. All right, I did some research this morning. I think you'll be interested in this. The new 5-for-5 rule passed yesterday, so it's going to be implemented. What does that mean for LSU basketball this year? I've got birthdays. I've got thoughts. What does it mean for LSU baseball in the draft? I've got thoughts. What does it mean for LSU football? I've got thoughts with some data to back it up. So we'll talk about the 5-for-5 rule when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. Lifetime Roofing offers, you guessed it, a lifetime warranty. That's on the craftsmanship as well as the materials, and those materials are backed by CertainTeed, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. If you're looking for a new roof, maybe you're trying to move, but you think your roof is a little bit old, want to increase the resale value of your house, you want to buy a roof, you can do that through my friends at Lifetime Roofing. They offer financing if you're looking to do that. Maybe you just need a fortification. You're not going anywhere, but you think your roof's a little bit older and may not be ready for storm season. They can do a tune-up to fortify that roof. Let them do an inspection if you're not sure what you need. They can do that as well. And oh, by the way, they do gutters, they do siding, they do windows, whatever it is on the outside of your home that you think needs freshening up, Lifetime Roofing can do it. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com. That's Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience, or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Great place to hang out with some friends. Weekend is around the corner. I think that's fair to say. We're on the back half of Wednesday now. If you don't have a tee time but want to implement some golf into your weekend plans, go see them on Perkins. Oh, no, at Segan by Perkins, right there at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can get that private bay. They've got the comfortable seating there. Got a television you can fire if you want to watch some World Cup. You can also play some tunes. They got the turtle boxes in there. You can play dozens of courses on the simulator. If you've never given it a try, go by and see them at Swing Easy. It's a cool experience, a lot of fun. They'll serve you a cold beer in there. They'll serve you a seltzer. They got wine as well. So you can make an afternoon or an evening out of it. And that's the beauty of Swing Easy Golf Club. You can play at night. Doesn't matter if it's dark outside. You're inside over at Swing Easy Golf Club. I love playing Pebble Beach, Cypress Point. I've given a spin over at TPC Sawgrass as well. You can play Bethpage Black. There are plenty of other courses, including one where they give out that jacket every April. You can play that one as well. It's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. They're on Segan at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com. All right, so this took a little bit of research, and as I've mentioned a couple times today, I could not get this segment done yesterday because the news broke while I was on the air. I needed to ingest what it was they were trying to accomplish and then look at it from an LSU perspective, and that's the 5 for 5 rule. I always tell y'all when a new rule is implemented, my first thought is, okay, how does that affect LSU? That's where my head goes. Not what's best for the student athletes, not what's best for the season ticket holders. My initial thought is always, that's just the way I'm wired, what does that mean for LSU? Well, let's get into it. So what does it say? What does a 5 for 5 rule say? It says you've got 5 years from one of 2 points. 5 years from when you graduate high school or your 19th birthday. Whichever one comes first, you've got 5 years to play college athletics from there. And that does mean, yes, you can play 5 seasons. There are no red shirts. There are no gray shirts. Doesn't matter if you transfer. It's 5 years to play 5 from either your 19th birthday or your high school graduation. That's it. Those are the rules. So when does it go into place? Well, they laid that out. If you just finished your 4th year of eligibility, this past school year, which just ended last month, you're done. This rule does not apply to you. So if you're talking about Seth Dardar, you're talking about Zach York, that just finished up 4th year of college athletics, played 4 years, you're done. You don't get 5 to play 5, you're done. So that's one class, okay? If you're currently enrolled and you have eligibility remaining, you now get a 5th year. If you're currently enrolled, you get a 5th year if you want it. If you are a prospective student athlete that will graduate from high school this year or next year, you are now in the model. You get 5 years to play 5 or 5 years after your 19th birthday. If you graduated from high school prior to this spring, then the NCAA's Eligibility Center is going to review your individual circumstances and look at what works for you. This is where LSU basketball comes into play, because these professional players from overseas are beyond their 19th birthday and are beyond high school, but have not enrolled at LSU. Make sense? So they are going to have to be monitored. So I looked into this. Yam Madar is 24 years old. He turns 25 on December 21st of this year. Under the new rules, his 24th birthday last December would have exhausted his eligibility, right? Because that's 5 years from your 19th birthday. You turn 24, you're done. So he would be done under these rules. However, LSU is going to go back and say, okay, but you put a provision in here that says if you have a religious reason, a military reason, or some other reason they need to evaluate, then, okay, you can appeal. So what LSU is going to do is say, yes, he would have been ineligible in December of last year moving forward. However, he served in the military for 2 years. Take those 2 years off. He's got time to play. He gets 1 season. That's what LSU is going to say. And that's going to have to go through the NCAA. The other two here are Marcio Santos and Bryce Desert. Marcio Santos turns 24 on November 2nd. That is 5 years from his 19th birthday. November the 2nd. That's basically right at the start of college basketball season. So I think that's a question mark. Now, Santos was being recruited by Kentucky. He was being recruited by other schools that plan to get him eligible. And LSU feels like they can get him eligible. But by these new rules, that's questionable. And then Bryce Desert turned 23 on March the 25th. So he turns 24 next March 25th, which is basically the end of the basketball season. That, to me, feels like he should get a year. It's unlikely LSU's basketball team plays until March 25th. It's possible. It's unlikely. That would get you into the Sweet 16 Elite 8. But I feel like he's got a good chance to be eligible. So these are all going to have to be heard. And as I mentioned earlier this week, the new ruling declares that all eligibility waivers must be filed by July 31st. LSU has got 6 weeks to get that done. Madar, they're hoping for the 2 years for military, which is it's written in. If there are military obligations that have been fulfilled, we'll evaluate. Desert, well, he'll enroll in time, but what does it mean for his birthday that's coming up in March? I think he's okay. Santos is questionable. It will all be cleared up pretty quickly moving forward. But LSU is going to try to sneak these in toward the end. Michael Ruzick is another foreign player that's coming in. He's only 19 years old. He's fine. He's probably got 5 years to play. But these guys are questionable. So that's what LSU is going to have to sort out by November. Now, we talked about baseball yesterday. I'll briefly mention it as well. I was looking at more slot stuff from last year's draft, and I found a few things from seniors. Like Julian Tughani from Arizona was the 6th pick of the 7th round last year. The slot value was $300K. He signed for $10,000 as a senior. It hasn't happened a lot, but it still happens some. Keep in mind that later in that round, the Cubs took Pierce Coppola from Florida. He was a senior at a 4-year school. His slot was $278,000, and the Cubs paid him all of it. But this does allow for 4th-year players to maintain leverage and consider coming back for a 5th year. It does allow 3rd-year players to have another year of leverage the next year. However, you're running against the clock. This is what I mentioned earlier this year. And it's unlikely that Major League Baseball teams want to draft guys that are 23 years old, having played 4 years of college baseball, that you draft them in July, they go to rookie ball as a 23-year-old, they turn 24 in March, and they're in high A at 24 years old. They don't want to do that. So I don't think you're going to get major league prospects to hang around for 4 and 5 years. That's not going to be one of the consequences here. The names I used in my LouisianaSports.net feature today on this is not, in my opinion, going to keep Jared Jones and Thatcher Hurd at LSU for a 4th and 5th season. To me, those guys who are not first-round picks, not second-round picks, but draftable prospects with some professional tools, those guys are still going to sign after 3 or 4 years. The guys you might keep around for extra years in this format are Jared Poche, or Mason Katz, or Gavin Dugas. Louisiana kids, low ceiling on their professional career, might want to play a 5th year. Maybe. But you're not keeping Curiel here for 4 years. You're not often doing that. Stephen Milam's going to do it for 4 years. He won't do it for 5. He'll do it for 4 years. Every case is independent, and I can't throw a blanket over everything, but I think I'm just kind of illustrating what this rule is going to do to LSU athletes. The last one is football. And I gave this a lot of thought because while baseball players don't generally make a ton of money, they make good, certainly better than almost all college students, but nobody's making what Sam Levitt's making. Nobody's making what Jordan Seaton's making. That's not the type of money you're making in baseball. In football, you can make some life-changing money. In baseball, you can make some, this is a nice nest egg money. This is a nice way to start my life at 24 years old. I can put a significant down payment down on a house money. Not like, oh, I can live off the interest of this for a while. But there are some players that I was looking at that would you come back to play another college season with big football NIL as an opportunity? Like Jarek Bernard-Converse had an all-conference year at LSU. Wasn't going to be a huge draft pick. Would you come back for another year? Garrett Dellinger on the offensive line. These were 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. 5th, 6th, 7th round picks sometimes end up on a practice squad making bottom barrel NFL stuff. Sometimes they get cut. You can come back and make $500, $600K at LSU. Maybe an option. Jacoby and Guillory came back and played at LSU. 6 years. Wasn't a draftable guy. So I think you could see that. Kickers, punters, that type of deal. But again, I don't expect starting players at LSU oftentimes to spurn the professional ranks to stay for 5 years in college. Because most of these guys, regardless of what happens to them when they get to the pros, most of them believe they're going to be pros. They're going to be NFL guys that play 3, 4, 5 years, get to that second contract. Even if they're not, they think that. That's why you've seen guys leave after 3 years that don't get drafted or in the 7th round. Think about Freak Johnson and Malachi Dupree and those type of guys. R.J. Lewis from St. John's that's playing for the basketball team are trying to next year. They said, don't go in the draft. Don't go in the draft. Big East Player of the Year, don't go in the draft. He did. Didn't get drafted. They think that they will a lot of times. So I don't think it's going to keep a lot of guys around for a long time. But it does change the circumstances in some instances that could give guys some things to think about. the most pressing issue for LSU right now in this perspective is absolutely the international basketball guys. I think they've got a case on all of them. Whether or not they'll win them remains to be seen. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com. Builtbyrenaissance.com. We will transition to the Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. I told you back in the first hour about the great deals that they've got on SUVs. But they've also got awesome deals on trucks in June. And oh, by the way, it's the 24th, so get by to get these deals. Looking for a 2026 Chevy Silverado at 0% APR financing now until the end of the month? You can do that. It's a 36-month deal, 0%. 2026 GMC Sierra 1500, 72 months at 2.9% now to the end of June. They've also got Chevy Trailblazer, Chevy Trax for as low as $30,000. Great staff there at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You'll have a wonderful buying experience. Great deals, as I mentioned. The inventory is all there at FabryChevrolet.com. So make that short drive up Highway 61 in St. Francisville and go see my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Hey everybody, Drew Brees here. Over the years, I've learned that the best teams are built on trust, preparation, and doing things the right way. That's one of the reasons I'm excited to announce that the Breeze Dream Foundation and I are partnering with Parish Construction and Roofing. Together, we are committed to helping families prepare for hurricane season. That's why Parish Construction and Roofing, the Breeze Dream Foundation, and WAFB are partnering to provide one capital area family with a brand new fortified roof. Visit WAFB.com/contest to enter the giveaway and view official rules and eligibility requirements. Because stronger homes build stronger communities.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 five-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
The Highland Insurance Group, they're online at highlandig.com. That's highlandig.com. Jonathan Carbo has an awesome team there at the Highland Insurance Group. They're technical experts in the insurance game. You know, a lot of times when renewal time comes up, you get a couple of proposals and you take a look and you flip to that back page and see what the premium's going to be, and that influenced the decision heavily. And they understand that at the Highland Insurance Group. Premium's always going to be a priority there at the Highland Insurance Group, but it's never going to be the only priority. They want to make sure their clients are taken care of. They're experts in reading coverages. They're experts in understanding what carriers want what risks, and they can make sure that your business is placed properly at the right price with the right coverage. The last thing you want to do is pay great money for insurance and then have what you believe to be a covered loss and have to come out of pocket for that. That's not going to happen at the Highland Insurance Group. They'll make sure to explain to you what's covered, what's not, offer you the reasonable solutions to your risk problems, and then you can decide what it is you want to do. It's the Highland Insurance Group. Storm season's here. They know it. Want to look at your property policy? You can do that for sure. They're online at HighlandIG.com, based here in Baton Rouge. They can help you out statewide. It's the Highland Insurance Group, online at HighlandIG.com. And Ross Jackson's got a piece up at LouisianaSports.net about Brian Brzee and the Saints. And what he's saying is that the Saints, after picking up Brzee's fifth-year option, which they did back in April, added players that complement Brzee's pass rush ability so that he can fulfill his potential in the middle of the Saints' defensive line. Second-round pick Christian Miller is a prime example of a guy that is a space filler in the middle of a defense. He can come in, occupy space, occupy blockers, and let Brzee use his quickness and explosiveness to get into the backfield. That's something they didn't really have. Like, Josh Ridgway doesn't really offer that. Christian Boyd doesn't really offer that. Now, we don't know about Vernon Broughton and what the Saints are going to do with him, but we understand that he's a big body, 6'5", 311. Bo Davis likes his skill set. He coached him in college, brought him in to the Saints in the draft last year. And what you're going to do is try to allow Brian Brzee to work one-on-one as often as he can. That means the guys in the middle have to occupy multiple defenders. That means the guys on the edge are going to have to win and draw attention, slide those protections. And you feel like you've got that with Chase Young. Cam Jordan had a productive year last year. You added two guys in the offseason, Wilson and Jennings, to come in and be disruptive on the edge, to allow Brian Brzee to do what he does best in the middle. There's been a bit of a progression for Brzee. He's still not a great run defender, but he is better. And what that's allowed him to be is a three-down player. He played a lot last year. Brzee played 668 defensive snaps. That was in 15 games, and he ranked 28th out of all qualifying interior defensive linemen in the NFL, missing 2 games. So that tells you that he is one of the most durable and usable defensive tackles in the NFL. He just needs his skill set to be complemented. And that is going to need to come with dynamic players around him so that he can use his one-on-one quickness and athleticism to make plays in the backfield. That's when Brian Brzee is at his best. We have reached a point in Brian Brzee's time in New Orleans where he is faded into the background because there's always buzz around first-round picks. And that first year, you're hoping it's a star. In that second year, you're hoping there's been some improvement. And by that third year, they should be a stalwart on the defense or on the offense. And while Brzee kind of was, like, the production wasn't awesome, the PFF grades against the run weren't great. The sack numbers were good, but he's not, Aaron Donald here. Not Fletcher Cox here. Now, there are other new shiny toys on this defense to look at. And Brzee's just kind of an afterthought to a lot of people. But if you look at the Saints' defensive tackle rotation, and I give you a group that's Devon Godshaw, Brian Brzee, Christian Miller, John Ridgway, Christian Boyd, Vernon Broughton, maybe. Well, Brzez's like the most gifted guy among that group. Maybe Miller. Godshaw's a little bit past his prime. But you're looking at a guy that you expect to be the best defensive tackle on your team. It's time to be that. I was impressed last year with his durability, the amount of snaps he was able to play, and his run defense got better. But I still think you might need more from Bryan Brzee if the Saints are going to be what they can be. And now you have a decision to make on him because you've extended the 5-year option, so you've got him for a 5th year. Is he part of your long-term plans? And this may be me because I'm not covering the Saints every single day from like inside the facility. I'm certainly talking about him. I'm certainly reading about him, but not like I'm not there. I don't hear a lot about Bryan Brzee. I don't hear a lot of scuttlebutt about his contract. I hear that about Chris Olave. I heard that about Alvin Kamara. But I don't hear it about Brzee all the time. And that's a bit of a bummer. And you could suggest that they drafted Christian Miller to maybe replace those snaps. That he and Vernon Broughton are maybe the future on the inside if Brzee doesn't make strides. But ideally, in a perfect world, he establishes himself as the best interior defensive lineman on the roster. He garners that extension, and you bring him back at age 25 on a 3-year deal to be a linchpin in the middle of your defensive line. He's only 24. He'll turn 25 in October of this year. He's not an old player. And he's playing at a position where you can play into your 30s. You don't have to run with wide receivers here. You got to be strong. You got to have some quickness. And you got to be sure tackler. He can rush the passer. He's got to do everything else. And I just felt like it was important to talk about him today because I also feel like we just don't talk about him a lot. And he was a first-round pick in 2023. It's a Dennis Allen pick, but it just hasn't blossomed into what it could be when you consider the pass rush tools of somebody that big at 6'5", 305. Maybe this is the year, because of the pieces they've added around him and what that may free up for him, that he blossoms into something that's better than what he has been. And that would certainly be a welcome thought. I told you last week that my biggest concern on this team was probably at linebacker and corner. Defensive tackles in that conversation as well. Godshaw's still there to be an old head, and you've done some work in the draft there the last 2 years. But Brzee standing out would be a really cool thing if the Saints could figure that out. We'll see. That's our look at Bryan Brzee. You can read about him in Ross's piece over at LouisianaSports.net. Reminder, LouisianaSports.net is free all the time. Just go check it out. Want Saints coverage? We got it. LSU coverage? We got it. Football, basketball, baseball, it's all there. As well as and you can go check out SEC news as well. All there at LouisianaSports.net. Step aside. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com. That's built by Renaissance.com. I love telling you about my guy, Joey Blanchard. He's awesome, and Renaissance Homes and Pools are awesome. He can build the pool of your dreams if that's what you're looking for. No matter what stage of life you're in, no matter what you're looking for from that pool, he can build it for you. But it's not just new pools. They'll also come in and remodel your pool. They can remove and reinstall new plaster. That usually has to be done every 10 to 15 years. If your plaster's fading or if it's peeling, they can come in and take it out, reinstall the new, and they don't even have to remove the water main line. Like, that's something that may be good to do if your pool's 10 or 12 years old. But new waterline tile and plaster can make your pool look brand new. That remodel could expand to decking and your pool equipment. You can add automation, pumps, heaters, lights, valves, all there from our friends at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check out the great work they do at builtbyrenaissance.com and text Joey. I'll give you his number. He's the owner of the company. That's who you'll deal with. That's who you'll talk to. Shoot him a text at 225-252-7745. That's 225-252-7745. That's Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient. And the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. No, the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Approaching the finish line here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Been a busy show. Tomorrow we'll talk to Luke Johnson about the black and gold. As I told y'all earlier on in the show today, I was checking in on LSU baseball in the transfer portal earlier today, and I don't expect any breaking news today on the transfer portal. I would think that there could be some in the next couple of days based on conversation I had earlier today. I know that there have been conversations. I know that there have been visitors. I know that LSU is actively looking for pitching. And you also know that the MLB draft is coming up here in a couple of weeks. So there are a lot of things to juggle, but LSU is going to dip into the transfer portal, I believe, for another pitcher or two. And I think there could be some news by Saturday or so, but I wouldn't expect any today based on the conversation that I had. It's obviously there are a lot of folks that are in the ring for Thomas Allen. He is from Benton, up just north of Bossier, went to Louisiana Tech. He has visited Ole Miss. He has visited Arkansas. He has visited Tennessee. He's going to visit LSU. Texas was in the mix as well. So that's a guy that people are looking at. I think that LSU is certainly going to be in the mix there. and I hope so. But as of this point, nothing significant. We'll get into some of that tomorrow as well. We'll see what the Pelicans do tonight. Sounds like they are pretty quiet down there in Joe Dumar's world. Not a lot going on last night for the Pels as they held on to all their assets, did not move into the first round to make a splash there. So a lot of quiet talk there. We'll see if they do anything tonight. But still a lot to get to over the course of the last couple of days of this week. For today, all we got left is take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave it. All right, so college football 27 releases July 9th. Okay. They come out with team overalls as well as stadium ranks, which is the toughest places to play in the country.
Okay.
See, LSU is rated 88 overall with
really high, isn't it?
An 89 overall offense and an 87 overall defense. Are these valid overalls for LSU going into the season? Take it or leave it.
I hope so. I'll take it. Sounds very good. Numbers that close to 90 is a very good thing. My video gaming days are at the very least on pause. They may be behind me. I have not played that game in a decade, but I used to play it religiously in elementary school, high school, college, and even after college. I was all about Dynasty mode and all that, but I haven't played. Probably my last NCAA football game was
2014 was the last one made before the newest ones, then 2013 was It's
been a minute, so I haven't played in a very, very long time. If the kiddos get into it and want me to grab the sticks, I'll do that when that time comes. But at 4.5, not really in the cards right now. So I think that sounds good to me. Where are we on stadium rankings? We got that
first.
We like that.
Yeah. So ever since the new ones have come out, I think it was 25, 26, and so this is the third one. All three LSU's been first.
I like that. Very good.
Actually, Sam Lev is actually I think 87. I think they also came out with him, but I don't know any other players to be honest. But
87's high. I like that. That's good. I hope they're that good. I remember I very vividly one of my first football media days, which they don't do anymore. Not the SEC media days, when LSU football used to have its own media day, and we could go. They would line up every single player on the roster in number order with their jersey on, and you could talk to whoever you wanted. They had all the coordinators available. It was just like free for all for like an hour. I remember Freak Johnson was up in arms.
Yeah.
Because it was his freshman year, and Jadeveon Clowney was a higher-ranked player than him. And Freak had just set the national sacks record as a high schooler. So he was very upset about that. I was going back and forth talking to him about their ratings, and it was a funny conversation. They were really into it, even though they weren't catching a check for it those days.
All right, so Oklahoma was a complete shock winning the national title this year. It was the first in over 30 years and second Omaha appearance in 5. Over the last 10 champions, none of them have made it back to Omaha the next season. Will Oklahoma continue this trend and not make it to Omaha next year? Take it or leave it.
Yes.
I'll take it.
I think that was a heater. It's a well-deserved championship. Those are the rules. You win, you play by them, you win. But they get a lot back from this team. I mean, the 3 guys they started are freshmen that'll be back. And then you've got Mercurius, who I guess is at least one of them will be back, if not both of them. So they'll have some talent, but I still don't buy that there's some sort of juggernaut that's going to jump right back. I mean, this year Georgia Tech, UCLA didn't make it.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to do. So I don't have them back in Omaha.
Let's see. So last one. So there has been a lot of buzz about the Pelicans trading leading up to the NBA draft and possibly trading and get back in the first round. Well, round 1 of the draft was last night, and the Pelicans did not make a trade to get back in the first. In fact, no trade at all was made for New Orleans. And you heard George's little rant yesterday. He kept it calm, kept it cool. So with no moves made so far, maybe they won't make a trade at all. Would Jordan be happy with this possible outcome?
I'll take it. I don't get it. Here's the deal. They were pretty healthy this year.
Yeah.
Zion played a lot. Murphy did get hurt. Yeah, you had
Murray was hurt.
DeJounte Murray was hurt, yes. But everyone has some injuries.
Right.
They were reasonably healthy, and they were terrible. They were nowhere close to relevant with a lot of the pieces you're trying to build around. Now, I get it. Tweed and Fears are going to be older. They're going to be better. I get that. But, wouldn't you want to add contemporaries of theirs?
Well, now you have a head coach. You had an interim for most of the last year, too.
You can cheapen your roster a little bit and create some flex. I don't know. I feel like just running it back is just a waste of time. You're going to run it back to win 30 games? You're going to run it back to win 33 games?
Hopefully not.
That doesn't seem awesome to me. That seems like a team that's once again a complete non-factor in the NBA. And let's be honest about it. The Pels have been a non-factor in the NBA for a very, very long time.
Yep.
Their entire existence, basically. They had one good run with CP and David West, and then you had an Anthony Davis team that was decent, and then the team that made the playoffs a couple of years ago and got swept was decent. But, that's been basically it.
There's some players that we do need to get rid of. Some of them are too overpaid, and hopefully we can do something around that to save some money and kind of pay the other players that kind of need it, or even get other
it's
players.
Bad. And let's be honest, nobody trusts Joe Dumars to get this thing right. That didn't inspire any confidence. He may be the greatest general manager in the history of the NBA, but it'll be a pretty big upset if that's the case. Nobody's super stoked about that. So
if we're going to say one thing positive, I will say I do like last year's picks. I do like Bears and Queens. So there's hope, but we'll have to see. That is it for Take It or Leave It.
No picks this year. Is what it is. That's it for Take It or Leave It. One more reminder brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Outdoor kitchens, they love to do them at Renaissance Homes and Pools. So if you're looking for a new outdoor entertainment space, contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, and Renaissance Homes and Pools. Missed today's show? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Chris Blair came on to talk about his sit-down with Will Wade. It's going to air on LSU Plus tonight at 6 o'clock. Missed that, you can go catch that on demand. We also had a chance to break down Texas, talk about Brian Brzee. It was What If Wednesday. Talked some injury with our friends over at Auctioner. So plenty to get to on this Hunt Palmer show from this Wednesday. That's it for us. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Thursday edition.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. Beauty of First American Bank and Trust is that they're local. They started here in Southeast Louisiana 116 years ago. If that's not in the fabric of the community, I don't know what is. 116 years they've been here for you. So if you're looking for a bank with a local feel, First American Bank and Trust. You don't want to call your bank and get put on hold and then talk to some call center in Chicago or San Francisco. When you call your bank, you want to talk to somebody local. How about the decisions that are made by First American Bank and Trust? If you're trying to get a commercial loan, if you're trying to get a personal loan, you'll talk to somebody local and they'll make that decision locally in your community. No matter where you are in Southeast Louisiana, there is a First American Bank and Trust near you, 25 locations. Check them out online at FABT.com, FABT.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental